Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I hope you guys are having a wonderful day. I just want to get on here and give you a definition of insomnia. You know, insomnia is when you cannot sleep. You're just always awake. And the some of the symptoms of insomnia, not limited to this, is reduced alertness, short attention span, slow reaction, poor judgment, reduced awareness of the environment or situation, reduce decision-making skills, reduce concentration, and poor memory. So reduced alertness, short attention span, slow reaction, poor judgment, reduced awareness of the environment or situation, reduced decision-making skills, reduced concentration, and poor memory. And this, guys, will be the actual physical side effects of being awake all the time and not being able to sleep. Okay. And I want to apply some of these to being woke. Okay. Now, when you hear the term woke, it has gone to a whole different level. It is good to be aware and alert of things that's going around you, to see injustices, to see areas for growth, to see areas where there may be an imbalance in things and a need for change. And then there is woke that pushes you to be extremist, hateful, and attacking other people, not being able to have a conversation, not being willing to listen or to hear or to see where you could be wrong in a matter, and being able to just come together and form a general consensus, even if it is to agree to disagree. What I see a lot of with the woke culture, okay, and not all of them, but the woke culture is, if you say something that I don't like, I'm going to cancel you. If you say something I don't like, then I'm going to I'm going to get you fired. And this is not democracy. These type of things is what will happen in maybe a country where communism or totalitarian is the norm. Sometimes people think that what they're doing is different because you're in a different country. But always remember, and especially for those living in the United States, there are always other nations and even enemies of the United States are watching and looking at the things that is happening in our country. And a lot of times the way to bring down a country is going to be by letting the country destroy themselves. It's a technique called the third column. And if you can cause a mess and weaken a country from within, it's going to be easy for enemies, both foreign and domestic, to really lay a nation flat. Okay? The United States of America, in my opinion, a lot of the people are pushing against a lot of the traditions and the things that made America what it is. Sure, there's some dark sides to how America came to being. Absolutely, yes. But if you look at most nations, most people, tribes, country, black, white, whatever it may be, you will see that something happened. There was a betrayal. Someone stole something. A lot of people just don't know their history because we just live in a time where we're free. So we can complain and we're like, this is what I believe. That is what I believe. Bad, bad, bad. But you don't know the background or the history of your people, your nation, or how someone came about being. But if the way to do things is by mashing other people down, you're going to run into a problem. And a country is in danger of being weakened and overtaken when you are divided and you fight amongst each other. That's one thing an enemy can do. Sit back and watch you weaken your nation. And when people are weakened as a nation, this is when they're going to be willing to go and team up with the enemy and give them all the plans and secrets of how to infiltrate their country, their nation. Okay? Whether or not you believe this can happen, it can, and it has happened. But I want to talk with you guys about understanding the difference between alertness and understanding life and people and the different views of people, and becoming an extremist in terms of woke, like to say the woke culture have a lot of words about rights and equality, but it's not. When you really look at it, it's not. There's not an equal platform to talk. When two people or if you're sitting with someone who's of the woke affiliations, a lot of times I see hostility. A lot of times I see someone talking over someone, attacking a person they don't want to hear. And why do I use these definitions? When you're always awake and you're never at rest and you never can just relax, you're always in a state of alertness. This is where you're going to experience these things. You're going to be irritable, reduced alertness. Okay? You're not alert, you're paranoid. There's a difference between being alert and being paranoid. Short attention span. You don't listen. No one can say anything to these individuals. They don't listen. If they're listening, they're not listening. They're thinking of their next thing to say to counter what you're saying, which would now fall into the reduced concentration. Poor memory. All of a sudden, they're going to forget when you're making a point about certain things. They will completely ignore a fact that you're showing to them. And it's not because they don't remember. They don't want to remember. They don't want to see this point of view that may debunk their argument or prove your point. Reduced awareness of the environment or situation. They become so fixated on their cause that they have lost sight of humanity and people and respect, because they are fixated on their cause. It's almost as if they become robotic. Poor judgment. There's too much to say about that. Poor judgment in the things that they're doing, the people that they're destroying, and not realizing they're destroying themselves. Woke culture, cancel culture, all these things, it's here for now. It's a season. The Bible says there's a time and a place for everything. Things will change. A lot of things that's happening with people, the agendas that's thrown out there, you're merely the footman for someone on a higher level that has a cause and have a plan that has nothing to do with what the little woke footmen are doing. You understand what I'm saying? So poor judgment, just making bad decisions, cursing out your mom, cursing out your dad, cursing out this person, hating this group, going against this person, making declarations on the internet that we'll never forget. Losing relationships, losing out on happiness in marriage, losing out on your peace, because everything is bad. Everything is an issue. Everything is a problem. But one thing I would always tell people is that you have to remember that as one of the things that I see is that these individuals are always looking for something to complain about and to be mad about. You have to understand that in life, there are people who will not agree with you. They are not going to like what you have to say. They're going to have their own way of thinking. There are women who are going to think women are inferior. There are going to be people who think that men are inferior. There are people who's going to think black people are inferior. There are people who's going to think white people are inferior. There's people who think Asian people are superior or inferior. There's nothing really you can do about those things until what I'm saying is, no matter what your cause is, people are going to think what they're going to think. And until if it's getting to a place where it's affecting your health, your safety, your well-being, then at that point you have every right to address it and to deal with it and to even help others. But there are people who have made changes without aggression and being evil. Martin Luther King was one. Gandhi. There's so many people who made changes without violence and without disrespecting other people. Are there some things you have to fight for? Are there some things you have to take a stand for? Absolutely. But what is happening, there's no balance. A lot of times the woke culture, you're cutting off your nose to spite your face. A lot of these individuals, when you really look at them closely, they just have this look on their face. When you see them talking, they are angry, they are rigid, they are inflexible, they are obstinate, they're not open to any instructions, and they're one of the main traits that they have is just they don't listen. They interrupt you. They will curse you out. They love to end their comments with laugh out loud. They got a LOL, an insult, an innuendo, aggressive. And why that is because in my opinion, I believe a lot of times woke culture, it targets people who have been hurt, who have been rejected, and it causes them, it focuses, and they have these people focusing on everything that's wrong with their life, everything that's wrong with their community, everything that's wrong in the world around them. And because these people are already hurting and they've experienced other things, if someone was experienced things at the hands of a man or a woman or certain groups of people, the woke culture, in my opinion, maybe not all parts of it, it wants you to focus on this bad thing that happened, and now you're going to think every man is this way, every brown man is this way, every white man is this way, every person of this origin is this way, and you'll always be finding something. And you know what? You're always going to find something, because in life there's always going to be people that's doing something wrong and unfair. How long do you or these individuals who believe in this woke cancel culture, how many fights are you going to go about? Do you know how many things you're going to miss out on? How many hairs are going to fall out of your head? How many creases are going to be in your face? And how much of a stain will be on your face from being so mad all the time? There is going to be something you're not going to like. There's going to be someone that's still going to be a racist. Someone's still going to think that women shouldn't be bosses. There's going to be people who are going to think that black men can't do this. And they're going to think Asian people can't do that. And they're going to think people of this origin cannot do this or that, and you don't have a right to do this, and you don't have a right to do that. But when you don't have judgment, when you don't have a sound mind, when you can't look through the eyes of wisdom and using discretion, using knowledge, and not just trying to run after everybody and everything, you're going to lose out. And it's going to come back to haunt you. I like to use the example of Asahel in the Bible. Asahel was a fast runner, skilled, and a warrior. But Asahel was chasing down a specific, he wasn't a king, but he was in a high position. I'll never remember this man's name. He chased him. He's going to take his life that day. And he was saying used everything in his power to say, stop chasing me, stop chasing me, stop chasing me. But Asahel kept chasing him. And Asahel kept going and going and going until the man turned around, threw his spear at him, and it went right through him. Asahel was standing, pinned, cannot move, because the sword went right through him. And this is the direction of a lot of the woke culture. It will lead you down this path that's going to destroy you, some of you, because you don't have judgment in your pursuit of what you're going to say is equality and justice. Equality means we can agree to disagree. Justice is, I'm going to deal with this situation in this matter, and what you have said and done is causing me harm, physical harm, or endangering me, or causing me not to have this opportunity. But even then, there is an order and a way that you do things. There are times when you're being attacked, you have to fight back. But we're finding more and more there's a different agenda, and it's about being angry. It's about being mad. Remember what happened. It's pulling off the scab of your past, so you can never experience happiness. You cannot appreciate the progress you've made in your life. You cannot appreciate where you've come from, and where you are now. It's never enough. Don't look at what you have. What else can you get? Forget the accomplishment that you've made. Forget that we have more freedom than other people in other cultures. Just keep complaining and keep complaining and keep complaining and never be satisfied and keep finding faults. You're going to be unhappy. Just like insomnia. You keep going on down this road, reduced alertness. Short attention span. Don't listen to anybody. Slow reaction. Just lost. Poor judgment. Reduced awareness. Can't see what's around you. Just what's making you mad. Reduced decision-making skills. Making poor choices. Reduced concentration. Cannot take in and listen to another point of view, and definitely will not let somebody else talk. Poor memory. Forgetting about the good things. Forgetting about the accomplishment that you've had. Forgetting about maybe the wrong that was done. You see, sometimes people, when the common thing around between Black people's, reparation and blacks and slavery and whatever, but people want to forget. Wait a minute, you guys are using the N-word a lot more. Wait a minute, you're forgetting that y'all are shooting each other up as well. Oh, we don't want to think about that. It's only if the white man is saying the N-word, and only if the white man is shooting us. Wait a minute. Wait, we want reparation from this nation and that nation for slavery, but we don't want to talk about the fact that there were African kings that were selling slaves and still wanted to keep selling them long after England, for one, abolished slavery. Oh, well, we're going to forget that England actually sent their soldiers over to fight, to stop the transatlantic slavery, all those things that was going on. We're going to forget that. Okay? Poor memory. You can say whatever you want to say about a man and insult him and say you are a fat, balding white man, white this, white that. But if that man was to say that to you, all hell's breaking loose and we're going to forget what the woman just said. So we have to really wake up and see what's before us. Get off that woke train, guys. It's going to bring you to a place where you're going to be tired. You're going to be miserable. If you, for a second, let's say while you're running with a woke crowd, if you happen to have a different point of view to say, maybe we could listen. Maybe we could kind of hear them out. You're going to see how they're going to chew you up and spit you out too. Because a lot of it is if you begin to think independently and come up with a different point of view, they are going to thrash you and cancel you. There are things in this world that is worth fighting for, and there are other things, guys, it's not a battle at all. A lot of times battles are being created. You're going to be miserable. You're going to age before your time. You're going to lose your relationships. And by the time you wake up and realize where you're at, there'll be carnage all around you. Especially if you're young. Don't get off this bandwagon and stuff. Understand this, and something that I always say to people who love to push you, woke. If you're always showing somebody what's bad in the world and always showing them everything that's wrong with life and making them feel as if nothing they're doing is good enough, they're not getting enough, someone is always holding something away from them, keeping something from them, are you prepared? Are you prepared to pay the price? Are you prepared to take the brunt and take the blame should this person commit suicide? It's very dangerous because there's people who's at the peak. Are you prepared to pay the price and to stand and sit in that courtroom when somebody goes and kills a bunch of people and does something because you have been pushing this hatred? There are people who are vulnerable and they're delicate and all this stuff is going on. They feel like this is what I can do to stop it. This is what I can do to stop these people. I'll go and I'm going to kill them. I'm going to do that. And I'm going to do a mass shooting, especially in America. Are you prepared for that? Are you prepared to take responsibility? If a person just feels so overwhelmed with seeing everything that is wrong with their life that they cut their wrists open or whatever they do. This is why you need to have balance. This is why you have to have wisdom. Don't just keep following everybody. There's a ton of things wrong in the world. And when you go looking for it, you're going to find it. And there's going to be so many things to go through. You're going to be miserable. The word of God says he will keep him in perfect peace whose mind is stayed on him. It's not that we're going to be blind, and it's not that there will not be things to address. But you're going to have wisdom. You're going to have understanding. You're going to be able to hear. You're going to be able to listen. You'll be able to sit at the table, hear what needs to be said. And when you're not angry, you'll be able to convey yourself without being aggressive, being rude. And you know what? With that being said, you may be able to make a change. But sometimes you have to realize people are not going to change. They're not going to believe what you believe, and they're not going to want to do what you say is right, even if they know that it is, because they don't care about that. And you have to be okay with it and move on with your life. Because just as there's people who don't believe and don't care, there are others who do. And you focus in this area so long as it is not putting you in physical danger or harm. Sometimes being too woke, sometimes being too awake and too woke can have very devastating side effect long term. All right, guys. Peace.